Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to a special Monday edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, along with my co-host, the Primus, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Wishing everybody a good morning on this May 15th because Mess Around says good morning, guys.
Yeah, Mess Around's up and early. Must caught up before a nap or after a nap, one of the two. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there for yesterday. Hope you guys had a great day. I was at the Twins game. Saw them beat up on the Cubbies. And the reason why we're doing today is I got some family obligations. Son is doing a track and field event at school tomorrow. And then I got a work-related thing. So Tim was kind enough to be able to free on Monday. So let's get into it. Back to one of our two favorite things to do while doing these lists, and that's famous birthdays. Continue with the month of March here.
We're in May.
We're in May. It's too early for me. Normally, I'm pulling a mess around, taking a nap at this time. So May. All right. So May 4th. We could all do the tagline, May the 4th be with you. So go with your number 5 there, buddy. Beforehand, I say we got probably 2. This was a dud, I think, of days.
Oh, I think this has 2. I think if it's 3, we're gonna be pushing it. I know I've got a couple curveballs
and we should have number 1, I think. If
we should have number 1 and number 2. But I have a 5. I have a 5A and a 5B.
Okay, go ahead. 5A, 5B. I like those.
Yep. And the funny thing is, much like my brother and my mom were born on the same day, Kat Jackson and Jackie Jackson of the family Jacksons, the Michael Jackson families, were all born on May 4th.
Okay. I saw one of them. I was just like, but you can't discredited what that Jackson family trees meant to the music world. So my number 5, speaking of music, and we all know her sister, but the lady I'm going to say is also a musician. I honestly don't know any of her songs, but popped up there, read a little description of her. I'm like, got to put it on there. That's Dolly Parton's sister, Stella. Stella's back. Stella Parton, born on May 4th.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Like I said, it popped out at me, read the little description. I'm almost like, I got to throw her out there. Let's see if she makes the list. And of course she did. So number 4.
I don't know how many people watch NHRA, watch drag racing. Probably one of the guys that are on Mount Rushmore next to Don Garlitz and Prudhomme and the others. But his daughters are racing in NHRA. Never got a chance to see him, even though I lived close to Gainesville for the Gator Nationals and never went. It was type of a bucket list thing. But John Force was a huge name in the NHRA circuit. You name it, anybody who's watched it knows exactly who I'm talking about.
Is he alive or dead?
He's still alive. My understanding he's still alive.
I know the name. My ex father-in-law, or no, stepdad, I guess, was a big drag racing fan, and that was one of his big guys. But I thought, I could be thinking of somebody else, but I thought somebody else died on the track after a crash, and I thought that was who it was. But no, we got a big track up here in Brainerd that I've been trying to get to, and I'm not a big drag racing fan, but I think it's just cool to see those cars and how fast they can get off and then try to brake afterwards. So.
Yeah.
So this one, not a homer pick, but just kind of um an acquaintance last name pick, I guess. It's a cyclist back in the day, and I put him on there just because of the last name, and it's Luis Herrera. I got to, and probably if I dug, probably there is some kind of you know um acquaintance or ties there, but yeah, Luis Herrera. So you're number three.
I didn't go quite much with a homer pick, but most people who know me knew who my favorite band is, and I wasn't lucky enough to see them live. And he retired just before they decided to go on tour do their world tour with Def Leppard. But Mick Mars, the bass guitarist for Motley Crue, he's been dealing with a lot of health issues as of late, but he had a lot of health issues when he started with the band back in the 80s, early 80s, and they've just got it to the point where he can't hold a guitar. He's crippled enough to where he can't play, and it's kind of sad. Probably one of the great guitarists of our generation, if not all time.
Yeah, know the name. A lot of people know I'm not a big heavy metal guy, but that was a good name. I did see the name out there. We're kind of back and forth on music here. I got a music guy here. Um, Growing up, a lot of girls liked this guy until kind of found out that he went the other way. And I know when you always got a group of guys together, you always wanted to be this group growing up, or be like them, I guess. And that's Lance Bass of NSYNC. So number two.
All right, this is I think we're either going to flip flop or be right on the head.
All right.
I think because we said we might have two, but
Nope.
I think you remember we did a while back during Oscar season. We did a best actresses to ever win an Oscar, and I think she was number 1 or 2 on my list because she has been nominated for. I think she was number 2 on my list because she seemed to be nominated for everything under the sun at the point. Between Roman Holiday, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and that's Audrey Hepburn.
Nah, I missed that one. Overlooked that one.
Oh,
Yeah. My number 2 is possibly, I know he's struggling right now in the golfing world, but at the time when he first came on, he was considered the next best thing next to Tiger Woods, and that's Roy McIlroy.
Yeah, you went that way.
Yeah, I went that way. But number 1 we should get because if we don't,
I saw Rory McIlroy. I saw Rory McIlroy and I went, okay, I had to put the Jacksons on. It was either Rory McIlroy or the Jacksons at that point.
Yeah.
My number 1 is probably your number 1 at this point. If it's not,
well, like I said, we missed somebody then.
I think I've said this a lot of times. Every time we do these birthdays for the month, that every time I went on a trip or got into a car, I listened to country music. And this seemed like it was a staple for us back in the mid '80s, mid to late '80s, early '90s. Has one of those recognizable voices that the moment he comes on, you understand exactly what you're getting ready to listen to. Haven't been lucky enough to see him in concert, and he had a stroke in the last couple years, so I don't think I'm going to get that chance to. And that's Randy Travis.
Yeah. No, Randy Travis, definitely my number 1. Yeah, it sucks. I wish I would have, like you, been able to see him. It's just I keep watching the clip of Kane Brown, I think it is, who's in a studio, like a radio station doing one of his songs, and Randy Travis is actually down the hallway, and I don't know if it was a planned surprise or Randy Travis actually ended up being there for some reason, but it was after his stroke, and he walks in with the help of somebody and sits next to the guy, and Brown just like loses it, lost train of thought and stuff like that. So That's good. Well, we got one. I mean, the number one. So, all right, we were talking backstage May 15th. To me, it was all Hall of Fame. So, all my guys are in the Hall of Fame, in a Hall of Fame, I should say. You said you have a curveball. I say we should have four. Besides, I think we have four. In the order, I don't know. So
I don't. Yeah, the order might be a little.
yeah.
Um,
So who's your number 5? This is where you said you're going to start with the curveball.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with this curveball. I can't remember. I know he was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy when he was at Florida State. I can't remember if he was the first African American to win the World Heavyweight Championship in AWA or NWA. I can't remember. I know he got lucky enough to be tag team partners with Tony Atlas. That's the part where I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's in the College Football Hall of Fame. I'm guessing he may be. And I can't remember if he got in to the WWE Hall of Fame. For some reason, I can't remember it. And that's Ron Simmons.
He is 100% in the College Hall of Fame. I know that one. I did see Simmons on there. The WWE Hall of Fame, I don't believe him and Bradshaw got in yet.
I can't remember if they're in with the APA together or if they're
but yeah, he's the first one. I want to say
the
AWA that he won the title.
Right.
Yeah. No, that was a big one. Big damn. You know,
yeah.
I hate the character, but I just like how every time he shows up, he doesn't say nothing.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my number 5, I know some people are gonna say he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but as a linebacker in the middle of that Baltimore Ravens defense, and I know other people are going to say that shouldn't even be talking about this guy because of allegations outside of football, but you got to put that aside. May 15th birthday, Ray Lewis. On the field you can't knock the guy's ability. Outside, okay, yeah, we could talk a different story, but Ray Lewis, number 5. You're number 4.
My number 4, and I think I've told the story about my dad taking us to a Little League Michigan State championship game between my number 4 and Steve Avery at Lodall Field. Got lucky enough to see 2 Atlanta Braves pitchers pitching against each other when they were children. I still remember this to this day. It was an amazing thing to watch. But to see what he did, I think more teams should do what the Atlanta Braves did with this guy to save some arms of starters and put them in the bullpen and make them close. But to do what John Smoltz did for the Braves in that period of time, it's sometimes it just boggles the mind. And I think Bobby Cox did the right thing with him in the middle of his career to do what they did just to keep him around longer. But yeah, my number 4 is John Smoltz.
Yeah, I got him at number 4 too. One of the best 3 arms the Braves have ever seen. I mean, pitcher rotation wise, I know you throw in Steve Avery. Who was the 4th guy in that one?
You had
Steve Avery was the 4th one. It was Maddox, Smoltz,
Avery, Glavine,
top 3,
and then you had Wohlers.
Yeah,
and then you had Wohlers at the back end.
Yep. So that rotation in the 90s. I wish it would have won more. Good thing they didn't win in 91, but yeah, Bobby Cox and the Braves, John Smoltz, number 4 for me. Yeah, we can't talk too much about that guy and what has been said. So you're number 3.
My number 3, I love this guy, even though he was in our division for so many years in baseball, and it sucked to see him. But I love this guy because every time you were talking about batting championships in the 80s, you're only talking about 3 guys. You ever talk about 3 guys batting 300 plus, and they were always the same 3 guys to always be in the talk, and that was Tony Gwynn, Wade Boggs, and then my number 3. But everybody remembers my number 3 got drafted the same year as Robin Yount in 7. I remember that I wasn't alive the year he got drafted, but I remember the rookie card. Mess rounds like selective listening to us. But everybody remembers the pine tar incident with the New York Yankees and him losing his ever-loving mind. Believe me, if I'd have gotten thrown out in that situation, what George Brett did would have been minor to what half of us would have done if we been called out for something stupid like that. But yeah, my number 3 is George Brett.
Yeah. No, yeah, that pine tar bat. That was just, and it was just a little bit on there. It wasn't the full length or whatever. So, my number 3, another wrestling guy, in the Hall of Fame, part of the family. I think back down in Texas, I think you couldn't go anywhere without knowing who the Von Erichs are. And Kevin Von Erich, just a legend off of those Von Erich names. So
is he the only one? Is he the only one that's still alive, or is it Kerry?
Kerry, I think, is the only one alive. So, but Kevin Von Erich. So number 3, and he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. That whole family should be. All right, your number 2.
My number 2, I believe you have it number 5. If I remember right.
All right.
I me being a Florida Gator fan, absolutely hated to sit there and listen to things that came out of Miami or Florida State, and to have a Miami guy and a Florida State guy on my list hurts me something deeply. But to see what Ray Lewis did, like you said, he revolutionized the middle linebacker spot in the 2000s. If I don't care about what he did off the field, he was found not guilty. he was found not guilty, so that tells me he didn't do it. Don't at me. I don't care. Yeah. But yeah, my number 2 is Ray Lewis.
Mess around multitasking. Yes, good job for you. That was my number 5. My number 2, a lot of people say that he benefited from, 1, the Minnesota Vikings trade, and 2, the offensive line that they put together, which again could be a big debate. I don't think he's definitely in the top 5 in running backs. He's the all-time rushing leader, and again, he probably. I mean, you only as good as what they put in front of you. And they put some monsters in front of him on the offensive line, and that's Dallas's Cowboys' Emmitt Smith at number 2. So you're number 1. So I'm guessing that's your number 1.
I can't in good faith be a Florida Gator fan and put a Florida State guy on number 5 and a Miami guy number 2 without having a Florida Gator being number 1, and that's definitely Emmitt Smith.
Yeah. And my number 1 is your number 3. I had George Brett on there, and and you talked about the bad tire incident, and that's the thing that sticks out most. Every time you say Brett, George Brett, is that tire incident, and I watch that clip at least once a year, and they got it mic'd up in the dugout, and you hear them talking, and you better not say my bat's illegal. And of course, right after that, they ring him up, and he comes flying out of the dugout. Good thing he didn't trip over that first step. And it would have been nice to hear what was said. I mean, I know it wasn't nice, but I think that bat's actually in the Hall of Fame.
It is.
I could be wrong.
I think it is. I think it is.
So, we were talking backstage. I had one guy that I was going to put on there, but it would have been a homer pick. And that was Leroy Horde, because the one thing he's known for is a quote that somebody asked him if he could be a starting running back, and he said, if you need if you need a yard, I'll get you 3. If you need 4 yards, I'll get you 3. So, yeah, Leroy Horde is would have been my honorable mention. So we had 4, like we said. The four I figured we'd have. So let's move on to May 18th. This one could be dicey. We should have 2. We should have 2 for sure. Yeah.
I could honestly say we could push 3.
Ooh.
3, if not 4.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see what we have here because all right.
I don't know. This is going to be tough, man.
Yeah, it'll be tough, but I'm saying 2, and it should be our top 2. But we know what we are. So let's go with number 5.
Okay. Seems like today we picked dates that have wrestlers in it for some reason. Okay, I didn't do one for May 4th though. But I think you did.
No, I didn't. No,
you didn't for May 4th?
I did not do a wrestler. Nope.
All right. Well, much like Ray Lewis, I don't care what you did off the field.
Yep.
I've listened to podcasts about this guy, about crime in sports, and about the murder that he got away with, supposedly. And we're not talking about Ray Lewis, don't worry. But I believe this man is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Okay.
He's the and I'm going to tell you this is who we blame. This is who we blame for Mick Foley. Because everybody remembers about Mick Foley going to Madison Square Garden and seeing Jimmy Superfly Snuka jump up, not Benoit. Benoit was last episode, but it was off the cage, and it was Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Okay.
But everybody remembers him getting hit in the head with a coconut by Roddy Piper.
Yeah, I'll be done about 10.
And then cracking the coconut over Piper's head, or Piper cracking his head with a coconut. But yeah, Snuka, Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Oh, I missed Snuka on this one, huh? Man, that
still not Tony Gwynn.
Yeah. Nothing's gonna beat the Tony Gwynn one. So my number 5. God, I thought I wrote down the group that he was in. I know the name, and of course, if I would have saw the Snuka name, this guy wouldn't have been on my list. But Rob Bass. So that's my number 5. Number 4 for you.
I always get this guy confused with somebody else.
But
I know who this is. He's a member of the 500 home run club. Part of the Baltimore Orioles. Played on the same team with the guy I keep getting wrong because I always think of Frank Robinson when I'm thinking of this guy, and when I'm thinking of this guy, I'm thinking of Frank Robinson. So I know I'm wrong, but this time I was right because I had to double check myself. But one of the greatest players to have played the game in Baltimore, and that's Brooks Robinson.
Yep. My number 4 is a guy that a lot of young quarterbacks strived to be back in the day when he was playing. Tennessee Titans, I think when Aaron McNair passed away, this guy lost a lot because I know they were close friends. And I think he just kind of lost his heart for the game because his game changed a lot. I know he has some injuries. And that's Mr. Vince Sandy himself, Vince Young.
I did see that one.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah. You're number 3.
All right. I got a question for you and everybody that's in our audience. When you hear the words Mr. October, who do you think of?
Oh, yeah, you got Jackson. That's it.
That's it. It's exactly it. It's much like you know who Mr. WrestleMania is. You know who you have names. people don't remember him being in the Loaded Weapon series where he must kill the queen. I was lucky enough to stand in line to meet him, and they decided to cut the line off right before me. So Reggie Jackson would have been higher on my list if I've actually got to shake Reggie Jackson's hand and actually got an autograph from Reggie Jackson. But no,
hey, that's what I was paying attention. He's got one right.
But yeah,
my
Reggie
number
Jackson.
3, and just scrolling through the list here, this was the first name that jumped out, and I said, why not? Throw a little historian into this, and that's John Paul II. I mean, I know of him. I'm not a big religious guy, but it was a big thing when he passed away. Days on CNN waiting for them to crown the new Pope. So yeah, John Paul II. You're number 2. Now I'm kind of curious of which way you went here.
Really, you okay? My number 2 wasn't that big of a curveball. Your number 3 wasn't that big of a curveball because I saw the name and went, yeah. If I don't put Pope John Paul II, a guy who's trying, who they're trying to put into sainthood,
Yep.
yeah, it's a little tough not to put him on. I'm not Catholic. I'm barely religious. I'm like religious light. But yeah, when I remember the day that Pope John Paul II passed away, I remember the I mean, I wouldn't want to have been in the conclave trying to bring a new pope after Pope John Paul II because no, thank you. But yeah, my number 2 is Pope John Paul II.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be a curveball, but I thought you would have went a different way with your top 2. I figured he'd be on your list. My number 2 is your number 4, Brooke Robinson, longtime Oriole, manager of the Orioles, I think. Like you said, what you said can't be repeated, I guess. I mean, just, outside of getting them confused with Frank Robinson, So, you're number 1.
Remember how I said that when my parents used to go on trips with my parents, we used to listen to country music?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who did I miss?
And the funny thing is, I watched a little clip of something on Facebook, and they showed this man walking to the stage to get ready for a concert. But yeah, he's one of those that, yeah, if you ever hear Amarillo by Morning, yeah, it's kind of, it's to me, it pulls because it's a really good song and everything that I think it's George Strait. Here's the problem. This is much like Brooks Robinson and Frank Robinson. I get Clint Black and George Strait confused a lot with their music because they kind of sound the same.
They do sound the same, yes.
But today's not Clint Black. Today it's George Strait.
Oh, I did miss that guy. Okay.
Oh God, now I wonder who you missed. Who you?
Wow. Yeah, not a big miss. I mean, no, my number 1 is still. I was actually going to use the same tagline and ask the same question you said about your number 3. I say Mr. October. You say who? Reggie Jackson. I mean, between him and Emmitt Smith, him and Brooks Robinson, I almost put Robinson as number 1, but I left it off until I kind of figured out the rest of the list and saw Jackson. I'm like, for sure Jackson. But George Strait definitely would have been up there. Would have definitely been in my top 4. So that was a good one.
We had 3 though.
Yeah, we got 3, top 3. I was, or 3 of them. Yeah. And I'm actually surprised. I'm not surprised you had Pope on there. I was, when you had a number 2, I'm like, okay, well, you took Jackson out, you took Robinson out. I was kind of wondering who you had there. So, all right. So let's move to May 20th.
This one's going to be tough.
What's that?
This one's going to be funny because I'm not sure the way you're going to go.
Well, knowing how we met at a nightclub, number 1, I think should be obvious. I could be wrong. But yeah, I will say that if we don't have the same number one, I think, but yeah, there's a lot of ways you could have win on this one, so it'll be interesting. I'm gonna go with a strong at least one on this one. I know I probably have a curveball.
Maybe 2 or 3. I'm thinking 2 or 3.
Okay, yeah, I could see 2 off of my list on knowing our backgrounds and what we like. So
yeah, that's where the 2 is.
Interesting. So you're number 5.
My number 5, I'm thinking might be your curveball. This is where the third might come in.
Ooh.
You threw a curveball at me 2 weeks ago, and I missed one. And I don't feel bad. It's not as bad as me missing Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
But I missed something that was part of my childhood. I missed the one where there was the crossover from Different Strokes into The Facts of Life. Gotcha. The Kim Fields one.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going to miss this time. Because this person was in Facts of Life. She was also in Scooby-Doo. She did the voice of Velma in Scooby-Doo in some of the I want to say the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
And that's Mindy Cohn.
Yeah, I saw her name and I guess I didn't read the caption quick enough. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I didn't know she did the voice of Scooby.
No, she did the voice of Velma.
Velma, yeah. So, my number 5, yeah, this one's going to be curveball because, again, it's one of those things where it's the name catches your eye, then you read the description, it's like, oh, okay. He brought us something good. And, we're on electronics, and typically what he brought to us was printers. And, as a matter of fact, I'm on an HP right now that I look at it. And that's Hewlett Packard. He was a co-founder of that. And that's Bill Hewlett. Was born.
I saw that one.
May 20th. So yeah, might as well throw him in there. Hey, you done some good for us. So.
Yeah.
All right. So number 4.
I don't quite remember if you were a NASCAR fan. But my uncle was. And
yep.
I'm a bit of one. My uncle's matter of fact, this was my Uncle Jeff's favorite driver. So it's as Ric Flair says, with a tear in my eye. So this guy had to be on my list. Has won the championship for Joe Gibbs Racing. What did I miss? Okay. But that was and he raced for Joe Gibbs Racing. Then he ends up owning his own team with Stuart Haas, with not Charlie Haas from the WWE, Charlie Haas, but and that's Tony Stewart.
Nope. No, Tony Stewart's my number 4 because I'm not like I gotta sit down every Saturday and watch racing or Sunday or whatever day they're on. I mean, I'll watch some of the Daytona 500, Indy 500, some of the big races, and I'll go to races around town here. One thing that I remember about Tony Stewart, and I could be wrong if he's the first to do this, but is he not the first to do 2 races in one day, Indy 500 and then NASCAR?
I know he's one of the first, but I don't know if he's the first because I'm not sure if Mario had done it, if Mario Andretti had done it. I'm not sure.
I remember seeing him. They were holding off the race because Tony Stewart was flying in via helicopter, and they dropped him on the infield.
I think Tony Stewart might be the first. I honestly think that Tony might be the first. Well, it's only a short trip from Indianapolis to Charlotte because that's usually where
they're bringing him in by a helicopter and they're holding off the start of the race because the Indy went longer, or vice versa, whichever one he did first.
Charlotte's the Coca-Cola 600 was always the late race.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Indy always finished at like 3:00, and then
what's that?
Charlotte. The Indy usually finished at like 3, and then the Coca-Cola 600 usually started at 6. Crispy, look it up. Yeah,
we'll have to get to that, but yeah, he's one of the first to do that. So yeah, that was my number 4 too. Was Tony Stewart. So your number 3.
You've already got one. That's already the one I wasn't expecting.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't expecting Tony Stewart because I didn't know if you were a big racing fan or not. So I was like,
Yeah, I'm not. But hey,
I went with the guy. My number 3 played for the Yankees, played for the Blue Jays, wore 33. I want to say because of something about he was something about Babe Ruth, and I can't remember why he wore 33 because he's twice as big as Babe Ruth or something.
yeah, something like that. Yep.
And then, but the weird thing is, a guy like that, what was he? Did he have the flu and he threw a perfect game, or he was like when he threw his perfect game, he was half dead doing it. And that's
David, something about that.
Yeah, something really weird about his perfect game. And that's David Wells.
And funny enough, that is my number. My number 3 is David Wells because nicknamed the Boomer, played like you said the Blue Jays and Yankees. I was just kind of serious on why he wore 33. I know it had something to do with Babe Ruth, and I think
it had something to do with Crispy. Look it up.
Well, Crispy's not on, so but
well, I'm just queuing up the Dave comment.
Yeah, Crispy, look it up. Let's see if I can find something quick. But yeah, he played for the Tigers. He started with the Tigers and the Reds. Went to New York. He asked to wear number 3 Roots a long time ago, but of course was denied. He ended up taking 33. So it was pretty much the fact that he wanted to wear 3 and didn't and got denied. But I think he wrote 3 on the brim of his cap for his Yankees caps. All right, so let's go number 2.
Your number 2 is probably my number 2 is probably your number 1.
Okay.
Back in the day. This is a long time back in the day. Well, I think she's most famous for having a TV show with her then time husband. And then got into acting heavy. I mean, heavy. Moonlight, Moonstruck. I don't want to because I really
Moonstruck.
Witches of Eastwick, things of that nature. I didn't really watch a lot of her stuff, but I listened to a lot of her music.
Yep.
She's one of those once in a generation singers to me. Matter of fact, and the weird thing was, the wife had a song on today. We were in the car, and the wife had a song on where she did a duet with an Italian singer, and I didn't even realize it until it come up on the radio that it was Cher and this other artist, and I'm like, okay, I didn't know this, and she's Cher always does this stuff. She's like this all the time. I'm like, okay, didn't know that, but yeah, my number 2 was Cher.
Okay, gotcha. My number 2 might be another curveball here a little bit. He's had a TV show. He's been in some movies. Been in the movies with The Rock. He goes by a different name than his original name. His real name is Trevor Smith Jr. My number 2 is Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, I saw that one. I'm not a huge fan of Busta Rhymes, but that happens.
I'm kind of curious who your number 1 is here.
My number 1. You watch movies during Christmas, right?
Yep.
What's one of the most famous movies in Christmas time?
Oh, please don't tell. We watch Christmas Vacation.
No, okay, yeah, no. You didn't miss Chevy Chase or anything like that.
Okay.
There's a show that I have still to this day have never seen in 47 years on this planet. I have never seen, but yet everybody and you can't. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you turn it on, and every channel's got this stupid movie on, and It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I've never seen it. I I will watch it the day before I die. But my number one is Jimmy Stewart.
Okay. Yep. My number one is, of course, your number two, because my mom would watch this list and she knows Cher's birth date, and if I would do a date and list on her day here and did not put Cher on my list, I'd be getting a phone call from my mom. So, yeah, beautiful voice. Being the actress on the side, I don't know. I mean, I've seen some of her stuff. I mean, cameo and I should say cameo, but she was in Stuck on You. Um, yeah, Moonstruck. There's another one. Her and I can't think of the young actress did, but yeah, Cher definitely number one. So we got three. You got your curveball in there. I figured we'd have two, but so all right. So let's move on to the 29th.
23rd.
This one.
23rd.
Uh-oh.
You didn't do the 23rd?
Did I write down the wrong date again? Hold on.
No, I got the 29th. I'm just saying we've got a 23rd too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we got the 23rd. Yeah. Okay. It's on the bottom of my list.
Okay. Did I do one that I wasn't supposed to do?
I know. I started thinking about that too. All right. Yes, you are right. The 23rd, because we talked about that.
Specifically.
I had to make an adjustment. Duh. Wake up, Brandon. All right. So May 23rd, you're number 5.
We keep finding ourselves back in music. I don't know why.
I know.
I'm not a fan of hers, but there are a lot of people who are. Her family actually has a show on, I want to say, Discovery.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the show, but their family is like really prominent in it, and they go, yeah, she's family, but she don't want to do anything with us. Okay. And that's Jewel.
Really? Oh, I missed that one. Jewel's birthday is on 23rd, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. My number 5. Again, we're back into music. I saw this name and I had to double take because I wanted to make sure I put it on for the right thing because I started reading. And it's the drummer for Maroon 5, who, if you also think about it, could have been the quarterback for the Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. That's one Matt Flynn.
Really? Yeah, I would have to do a double take too on that.
Yeah, because I did. And I'm like, okay, I got to throw this one on here. I mean, I know who Maroon 5 is. I mean, most of us do if you're in the music business. But yeah, you're scrolling through and you see Matt Flynn. It's like, oh, really? He's on there. And then you realize it's Maroon 5. It's just like, okay, well, let's put him on anyways. And let's see if we could throw a curveball in there. So, all right. You're number 4.
So how many do you think we're going to get on this one?
Oh, yeah, we didn't say that. I don't know. I'll say I'll be safe. I'll go 3. I think we could have the top 3 here.
I was thinking 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. This might be. I obviously at least this point, Jewel was the curveball, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
If I were to ask you and the listeners, the name of Jeopardy, what would you think? The world of the.
You would go Alex Trebek.
Right. We think of Alex Trebek, but then you go with the next guy, and you go the guy who's hosting. If I'm not mistaken, hosting it. I've been away from. I've been away from Jeopardy in the United States since 2018. But he is the largest prize winner in Jeopardy history.
He was. I know one guy was being putting a threat to it, but I don't know if he still is. But
okay,
yeah.
Well, and we'll just go ahead and just give out the name. It's Ken Jennings.
Well, So when you were doing your spiel on your number 5, I thought maybe we nailed it because I believe she has had a show, or maybe I'm just illuminating it because it's the name I've heard of, and I don't watch much of those reality shows anyways. Um, but my number 4 is Melissa McBride.
No, you know what she's on?
What's his on?
This is the one that bothers me that I should have put her on. She's on
Okay.
The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
She's the one that
Gotcha.
plays Carol on The Walking Dead. One kind of person I would like to have met. No,
Yeah.
If I
Okay.
would have saw that, Jewel wouldn't have been on.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
that one.
Your number 3.
So we've done all these lists, right?
Yep.
And we've done a lot of things. We've done hockey, we've done football, we've done baseball, we've probably done tennis. We've done everything. You did golf today. But what haven't we done? Boxing.
Oh, okay.
And my number 3 is the world middleweight champion from 1980 to 1987 and has the second longest unified reign in history at any weight.
Okay.
And it's the marvelous one, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Water polo.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't see the name. Yeah, he probably would have been on there, would have knocked probably Flynn off. I don't know where I would have put him, but my number 3, I had to make sure I was on the right number here, took over hosting duties, was a funny guy in his own TV show. Every time I see this guy, he looks thinner, looks more like Santa Claus sometimes. I know he's known for weird glasses. I think it must come in the Carey name because Harry Carey is also known for his funny glasses too. But this is Drew Carey, the host of Price is Right.
Do you know why Drew Carey wears those glasses?
Why?
It's because when he went to the Marine Corps and they gave him those glasses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those were given to him by the Marine Corps.
Oh, did not know that. So yeah, my number 3 is Drew Carey. So you're number 2.
My number 2 is probably the biggest Cleveland Browns fan in the world. Just happens to be your number 3.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, you threw me out here. All right.
And it's Drew Carey. I'd love to know what diet he's on because I would probably if I knew what it was, I'd probably weigh as much as I did as a 10th grader.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Cleveland rocks, all right. My number 2, this guy helped his team win a Super Bowl. Probably one of the meanest guys on the rushing side, on the ends. I know if I was a Vikings fan, I'd like to have him on my team. I know you would like him on the Colts defensive line, and that's Aaron Donald. Guy's just a beast. I missed this comment before because you said we've done these lists. Messer wants us to do a water polo list.
Okay. I'll give it a shot, but it's going to probably be
he must
terrible.
be talking about the diet that Mr. Carey's on. Because, yeah, no kidding. We'd all take that. So you're number 2.
My number two is Drew Carey, but my number 1.
Oh, number 1. Yeah, number 1. I'm sorry.
My number 1 is this probably the greatest defensive player to play for Pittsburgh, the Panthers, the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I wish my Colts had drafted him and lined him up right alongside anybody on my defense.
Yeah.
Has been threatening to retire now for the last 2 years. And that's your number 2, Aaron Donald.
Yeah, he's pulling a Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, threatening to retire for. Like we said before, once you talk retirement, you're pretty much retired. So,
Yeah.
just retire. I mean, it'd be bad to see, but my number 1, your number 4, possibly one of the smartest guys to be on Jeopardy. I know there's another guy, like I said, that threatened his record. I don't know if he hit it or came close, but that's Ken Jennings. I don't know. Watching that guy, I don't know if he lost on purpose or what. Got bored
I
with
think
it.
he might have been
I don't
bored.
know. He probably did because he was unbeatable. I mean, so well, we did number 3. We said 3. The 3 I thought we'd get too. So all right. So May 29th. This could go either 4 or 2. You're saying 3.
I'm thinking 3.
I'm gonna
We'll
go
have
with
the top 2. We'll
the
have
top
the
2
top
for sure. The third one's gonna be the tough one, but I can see us going 4. So I'll go 3 with you. Top 2 for sure. In what order? Who knows? So let's go with number 5.
Remember backstage where I said that my May 5th or my May 4th or what May 4th connected to my May 29th?
Yeah.
Here's why.
Okay.
My number 5 is the daughter of Katherine Jackson, the brother of Jackie Jackson, the brother of Michael Jackson. My number 5 is LaToya Jackson.
Okay. Honest, did not see the name on the list, so I must have just been kind of flipping through quick. I don't think I would have had her on my top 5 though. Top 10 possibly, but yeah. No, again, when you talk about the Jackson family tree, I mean, what they brought to music, I mean, granted it was all Michael, but the other guys also helped too. So my number 5, we do a show here on Tuesday night, as a matter of fact, tomorrow night, Between the Ropes. One of our hosts, I don't know if he has a session with this guy or what, but kind of brings him up quite a bit. He's a little guy. And, if you guys watch wrestling, he was the illegitimate child of one Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I didn't even see that name.
His real name is Daniel Post. He goes by the name of Hornswoggle. So that's my number 5, Little Hornswoggle.
Little Hornswoggle's in Wisconsin. Little Hornswoggle's is a resident of Wisconsin.
Yes, he is. He's got a school, and that's what he's been doing nowadays. Because they said reports are he's had a lot of back surgeries, and they are telling him not to wrestle as much, if not at all. So, all right. So number 4 for you.
My number 4. Most people know me as a big Star Wars geek. So, be honest, if you have, I think she did. I think she did. Most people know me as a big Star Wars geek, but if you had this person on your list, I would be shocked. Most people during the original trilogy of Star Wars knew that David Prowse was in the suit, and James Earl Jones did the voice of Darth Vader.
Yep.
But most people don't remember is that when Luke Skywalker takes off Darth Vader's helmet at the end of Return of the Jedi, it's a whole nother person. It's not David Prowse. It's not James Earl Jones. It's a guy by the name of Sebastian Shaw. His birthday is on May 29th.
Well, wow, okay. The funny thing is, I'm scrolling through it just in case we miss somebody and we can go back. That's the name I stopped on, was Sebastian Shaw. Born in 1905.
Yep.
Wow. No, I didn't know that. That was who it was. Wow. Okay. So we're at number 4 here. Did racing a little bit ago. On the 20th, we're going to do racing again. Another guy who, his family tree in racing is, from sons to fathers, grandfathers, nephews. I think he was on an episode of Home Improvement. And that's Al Unser. So another name in racing that, might be there. So you're number 3.
It wouldn't be a C2C Rankem if you don't steal a couple of mine before I take them.
Yep.
So this should tell you that this should be the Al Unser pick at this point.
Yep. So you're at number 3 with Al Unser?
Yep.
All right. My number 3 is a guy who seems to just be anywhere on the basketball court for any team. I think he's still playing. That's Carmelo Anthony.
I had him. I just didn't know what to do with him.
You're number 2.
My number 2. This is where we should be flip-flop, and I don't think so.
No.
I think we're right where we're supposed to be. The back during World War II, no, was it World War II? World War II or Korea, where there was the USO.
Yep.
They always had this huge thing about sending over celebrities and actors to perform for the troops.
Yep.
And this one is the guy who started it all. We all know of the golf tournament that he had.
Yep.
But everybody remembers Bob Hope.
Yep, that is my number 2, Bob Hope. I mean, like you said, tournaments, going overseas, funny guy. I don't know if some of his jokes would go today, but
No.
All right. Number 1.
My number 1. Well, I think the reason why we did this list was specifically for this number 1. I remember, a matter of fact, it was really weird because they started this Netflix show called Mulligan, and they were talking about this new president to be the next Camelot, and I think it's funny because it's not. But we lost this president too soon. Granted, it was in his second term, which is, we should never lose a president in the way we lose a president.
Yep.
But he sent us forward so far in what we've done, and where we are. If we're not in the moon, we don't go to the moon. We don't have a space race unless it's because of this president, and that's John F. Kennedy.
Yep. 35th president. Yep. That's why I have at number 1. JFK. So yeah. Again, one of those guys that if you do a list like this and do a specific date and he's on it, it's got to be the top. All right, let's round it out. Last day of May 31st. We could have all 5, but I think looking at it, we should have at least 2 we should have the number 1 for sure.
I think we have 3.
Okay.
I think we have 3. 5 would be tough. 5 to pull a perfect right now would be almost tough.
I could see it though. I mean, going by who is on the list. I mean, if we're thinking the same way.
Oh yeah.
All right. Let's go with number 5.
Number 5. We find ourselves back in music.
Well, we're out 5 then.
We're out of 5 already. That's awesome. Number 5, probably one of the greatest bands of all time, greatest rock bands of all time. Has arguably considered what they consider the greatest rock song, if not the greatest song in history, with Led Zeppelin's "Stairway to Heaven," and that's the drummer of John Bonham.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, we're definitely out 5, so we're down to 4 now. Number 5. I know some people in the sports world, football world, can debate on the guy should be in the Hall of Fame, guy should not be in the Hall of Fame. The guy was the first male diva ever, should not, he's known for one thing only, and that's to call his shot against a certain Baltimore team in the Super Bowl. And that's what he's known for. And that's Joe Namath. I won't say the last part of the Baltimore team that it was against, but we all know it. So you're number 4.
Some all too well. My number 4. This is where I know where this is the one that I would have figured we would have lost it on.
Oh, okay.
The first time I ever saw this guy as an actor, he did this movie called American Outlaws, where he played the outlaw Jesse James.
Yep.
But what he's known for, he just won an Oscar this last year, and I think it was a long time coming. And he starred opposite of Jamie Foxx in Miami Vice.
I know what you're talking about now. I can't think of the name.
He starred opposite of Robert Pattinson in The Batman a couple of years ago, and that's Colin Farrell.
I did see the name. Now that you said it, yeah. Well, if we didn't lose at number 5, we definitely lost at number 4. This is a homer pick, even though they say he's born in Apple Valley, Minnesota. He's actually not. He transferred schools back when he was in 6th or 7th grade. He's an Olympian. He's trying to become a second-time Olympian in wrestling. He signed a WWE contract, yet has not partaked in a match. And funny enough is one of my doctors I've been seeing because of my weight is actually very, very good friends of his family. So that's Mr. Gabe Stevenson.
I saw that name, and here's the reason why I didn't put him on, because I figured you were going to.
Yep. So
this is one of those dates we could have done 10 people on.
Yeah, we could have done 10. Yep. All right, May 31st, you're number 3.
Number 3. We all like, and I haven't heard if Isaiah has taken us up on the major league deal for the Oakland Athletics, but that's okay. My number 3 is known for Major League, the Major League Series. He's also known for Sniper. You're looking it up, and you're seeing.
I am looking it up.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, keep going.
But everyone remembers him as the catcher in Major League. Did you miss? Oh my Lord! And here's the funny thing is, you pointed him out when we were getting ready to do these numbers.
The funny thing is, I knew I was going to miss somebody.
And it's Tom Berenger.
Oh man! And the thing is, I put the list together. I'm like, okay, I got that name on that date. I know we picked this date for something, and I knew there was going to be somebody I forgot. Oh man, yeah, and you're right. We did talk about that. We were looking, and it's like, oh yeah, we got to do this date. Well, funny thing is you're number 3. Actually, my number 3 actually played for the team in the Major League movies, but in real life, he was the center fielder, the speedster, and that's Mr. Kenny Lofton.
Really? I didn't even see Lofton on there. That's even funnier.
Yeah. So that is funny that we got ties to number 3, but different reasons.
Good Lord.
So, yeah. All right. So you're number 2.
Well, I'm going to save us here.
Okay.
Your number 5 is my number 2. He is to me. He is. I know. Name it. I know. I don't.
No, I know, but you missed somebody.
Not yet. Who did I miss?
Let's go.
Number 2. I must have missed somebody at this point. No, gosh, no. It's Joe Namath. To me, should not be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm the one. I'm one of the guys that doesn't think that no.
I agree with you. I mean,
like I said, like you said, the only thing that he ever did was call a shot against the best team in the NFL at the time.
Yep.
And that hurts. Every day I see that guy get drunk on his face and try to pick up Susie Colbert on the sidelines on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. So you got Joe Namath. So my number 2 is either you missed this one or you missed number 1. One of the two. Growing up, probably one of the sexiest ladies that a teenage guy could ever have a crush on. Still actually a pretty good looking lady for being, what is she, 57? And that's Mrs. Brooke Shields.
No,
quiet.
I saw that.
Okay.
I saw that name. I wasn't. I should be honest. She should have been on there. She should have been on there before Joe Namath. To be honest.
That's funny. You say that she should have been on there before Joe Davis, and Joe Davis is number 2. I mean, that's saying too much.
Exactly.
All right, number one.
I'm not proud of this. I'm not proud of the 31st. I was never a big fan of Brooke Shields. That's the problem.
I'm not saying I was a big fan of her acting, but I mean, but
yeah. Well,
all right. You're number one.
My number one. Honestly, this guy was cool before being. This guy was cool. This to me, when you watched his movies, Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, the Unforgiven. Yeah, everybody's gonna say you're missing Dirty Harry, Death Wish. You're not Death Wish, but Dirty Harry, Deadpool. It's the fact is what he did as an actor would have made him one of the greatest of all times to begin with, and then all of a sudden he became a director.
Yep.
And did everything that he's done. I haven't been lucky enough to see The Mule, which is based off a true story. The Mule, where he's basically it takes place about a guy from Michigan.
Yep.
But to win Oscars in both as an actor and as a director is tough to do, and this man has done it in spades. I honestly think Morgan Freeman doesn't have a career unless it's for Clint Eastwood. Honestly, I think I love Morgan Freeman, but I think he puts Morgan Freeman back in the spotlight. Huge. I think he gets more roles now because Clint put him in movies.
Yep.
He basically, I think he kept Gene Hackman's career afloat. I love this guy as a director. I love this guy as an actor. This is a guy that everything he touches turns to gold. Everything he directs turns to gold. I think this guy could go to Berkeley right now and teach a class in directing and acting, and it'd be a master class in both. And that's Clint Eastwood.
Yep. Number one by far on this date, Clint Eastwood. Matter of fact, I liked him in Gran Torino.
Oh, beautiful movie.
Trouble with the Curve. Even though I don't think like he was one of the stars in that one, but I mean he had a big role in there. But I think it was more for the girl that played his daughter, Justin Timberlake. But him in Trouble with the Curve. But yeah, Clint Eastwood, number one, great actor, great director. Like you said, he touches it, comes to gold. So with that being said, that's all. Thanks for joining. Hope everybody enjoys this list again. Like Tim will say, you guys want us to do a list, send it, get in contact with us. We'll definitely put one together. I don't know if we'll put a water polo one together because I don't know much about water polo. But
I don't know. I think that'd be a 20-second show.
Yeah, exactly. So, Tim, final thoughts.
I want to thank everybody for watching. Like Big B said, thanks for coming in early to watch us. I know we got a little things that we can't get around, but that tends to happen. Life tends to get in the way. We'll be back. I'll be back again on Saturday, and then turn around and watch us again on next Tuesday.
Yep, exactly. Saturday will be on deck. Actually, Tim, you must not have been paying attention because May 21st we're going to have a morning tailgate. Review the schedule.
No, I'm paying attention. I forgot about that day.
Yeah, so morning tailgate will be back to do our recap of the NFL schedule release, and then, like I said, Tuesdays morning tailgate, Wednesdays sports minute, and in the Cougars Den. So definitely keep watching. And with that being said, for Tim, I'm Big B. See you next Tuesday, hopefully on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.